Blowing in the Wind by Robert Zimmerman, otherwise known as Bob Dylan. This song can be played just with 3 simple open chords, for example G, C and D. But what we're going for here is adding a little bit more authenticity to it, giving it that authentic Bob Dylan folk feel by adding 2 things. We're adding the Bob Dylan style strumming pattern, and also something called slash chords. Let me explain. So we could play this song just with G, C and D major. For example, how many roads must a man walk down? But what the most famous version of this song adds are the slash chords, where after we've gone to the C chord, we have a descending bass note which goes, and in the version that we're going to go for is going to walk to here. So this is what our bass note is going to do. So, how many roads must a man walk down? With the strumming pattern that we'll use and with the chords as well, how many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? Hopefully you can hear what that adds, and it's quite simple to do once you get a couple of concepts. That strumming pattern, just for those of you that are interested right now, is root note, strum, root note, down, up. When I'm strumming each of those, we're only really hitting the thinnest 4 strings, and the thickest 2 are reserved for what we call these root notes, which we'll have to understand a little bit about the chords that we're playing before we can look into that. We can do this exact same thing without a capo. For example, how many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? But the original version, or the most famous version, is at capo 7th fret. So capo 7th fret, basic chords G, C and D, 3 major chords. In the verse and the chorus, we have this step down to a C/B, which has our first finger and middle fingers placed like this, but the middle finger should really mute the underside of the 4th string, so the D string. And our thumb can be on top to mute string 6, especially if you're doing a lot of strumming, but we're only going to do pick, strum, and we would pick the root note, string 5. Then for the D chord, we're going to do D over A, so that's what the slash means. We've got a D chord, but the letter before the slash, so the forward slash, that's what a slash chord means. We play that as the root note, so the A note over the D chord, and then F sharp over a D chord, and then finish on the G. So that's the verse move, which is repeated in the chorus as well. If that's too difficult for you, I will be sure to link to a chord sheet in the description below, which shows how this can be played with just 3 simple chords, the G, C and the D, and you can place the capo wherever you wish just to match your voice. That's the only difference it makes. The melodic note for you to sing is on the open D string. How many roads must a man? Doesn't matter where you are with the capo, it's always on that 4th string when we're playing it in this fashion. So strumming once per chord for the verses. How many, that's a G chord, roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? Same thing again. How many seas must the white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? Chorus is very similar to the verse. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. And for the harmonica solo part, same move, C, C/B, D over A, adding the thumb to make D over F sharp, G to C, C, C/B, D over A, thumb added on for the F sharp, and G. Make sure you have that pattern memorized from using a chord sheet or writing down those chords yourself, so you've got the pattern under your fingers first. You need to have that chord progression kind of memorized, because the picking is going to be hitting some root notes, so some single notes here. As an example for the verses. Okay, so that's verse 1, part 1, and everything from there is based on that. There's a couple of accents that we can try, but at its most basic, root note, strum, root note, strum, root note, strum, root note, strum, and we just repeat that for every chord that is written. When we stay on a chord for a whole bar, we can add the down up instead of just a single strum. But only when we're on a chord for a whole bar. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Now, if you happen to add more in, that's absolutely fine. And I highly advise you check out some live footage of Bob Dylan playing this, because he varies it all the time. He often plays it without a capo, and he's doing many different strumming patterns, sometimes varying which chord he stays on for a particular verse. We're going to stay more true to the original here, so we've got something to work from, but I encourage you to do your version, whatever sounds best for you, and learn from as many different live versions of this as possible to influence that. Let's run through the chorus now with this strumming pattern. 2, 3, 4. We have an optional G/C chord in that chorus, so for example, but that is again one of those things that would make this more advanced, as it would with really picking out that strumming pattern where we just pick one note, for example on this D over A or D/A, and then the D over F sharp. So for these slash chords, which are chords with a forward slash in the middle of them, the first letter is the chord we're playing, and the second letter indicates the root note that should be played over that chord, but it can be seen as an optional extra. Here's a quick playthrough of the intro and the verse, just for your reference, with everything added, played very slowly. And then we would go into the verse. Notice I added this little that is a little quirk of the original recording. It's just something that happens in that recording. But you could also just play it straight. So C, // B to G for that section. That would be fine. Chorus slow play through. The answer, my friends, is blowing in the winds. The answer is blowing in the wind. Harmonica solo is exactly the same. Do, 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 do. That last part is a little pick and then hammer on. So the only difference between this is lifting off that middle finger and then hammering it on. Lift, hammer. There'll be more links on the screen and in the description below of where you can get more help with these kind of techniques. I wish you all the best. We got more Bob Dylan songs on this Andy Guitar website and YouTube channel. I hope you'll check out more of my videos and tutorials, and you can do so right now.